Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unlocking a definitive masterclass on how businesses categorize, organize, and strategically manage the things we buy every single day. We are unpacking the marketer's playbook. So whether you're trying to build a brand from the ground up, or honestly, if you just want to understand the hidden architecture behind the shelves at your favorite store, you are absolutely in the right place.
So let me ask you, what exactly are you buying? I kind of want to challenge a preconceived notion right out of the gate here. There is always more than meets the eye when we make a purchase. Marketers know that we aren't just buying physical features, right? We're buying solutions to our wants. Think about it. When you buy a washing machine, you aren't just buying a motor and a steel shell, you're buying a trusted brand name, a warranty, and most importantly, a way to actually get your clothes clean. And sometimes, the stuff we buy is completely intangible. Think of an income tax consultant or a hairdresser. You are literally paying for their advice and their service. The whole shebang is part of the product.
Okay, let's dive right into our roadmap for today. We're going to cover defining the product, classifying goods, product mix and lines, product line strategies, and finally, product diversification.
Kicking things off with Section 1, Defining the Product.
Marketing pioneer William J. Stanton actually put this perfectly. He defines a product as a set of tangible and intangible attributes, which includes packaging, color, price, and manufacturer's prestige, which a buyer may accept as offering satisfaction of wants or needs. It's totally crucial to view a product as a sort of bundle of utilities. Sure, it includes the physical item, but it also wraps in all those fringe characteristics, like the guarantees, the installation instructions, and even the prestige of the manufacturer itself. That total product is what you and I actually buy. So, the big takeaway here is that every product shares a few core traits. First, they can be tangible, like a comb or a refrigerator, or intangible, like an insurance policy. Second, they have associated attributes. These are things like color, brand name, and after-sales service that make them stand out from the competition. Third, they absolutely must have an exchange value, meaning they can be traded between a buyer and seller at an acceptable cost. And finally, satisfaction. The product has to provide real or psychological satisfaction to the buyer while at the same time delivering that much-needed business profit to the seller.
Moving right along to Section 2, Classifying different product types.
Now, the most fundamental divide in the marketing world is between consumer goods and industrial goods. Consumer goods are exactly what they sound like. Stuff bought by households for ultimate personal use. We're talking toothbrushes, wristwatches, mopeds. No further commercial processing happens to them. Industrial goods, on the flip side, are bought as inputs for production or services. Think raw materials, heavy machinery, or components. And as you can guess, the marketing strategies here are vastly different, mostly because an industrial buyer is highly cost-conscious, totally rational, and way less impulsive than your everyday consumer.
Now, here's a really fun concept I like to call the coconut oil pivot, and it perfectly illustrates just how fluid these categories can actually be. The exact same physical item can switch categories entirely just based on its end use. So if someone buys coconut oil to use in their hair or for cooking at home, boom, it's a consumer good. But if a manufacturer buys that exact same coconut oil to use as an ingredient to make toilet soap, it instantly becomes an industrial good. The end use dictates the classification, which then drives the whole marketing strategy.
We can actually break consumer goods down even further into three distinct buckets. First up, convenience goods. These are things we buy all the time with minimal effort. Your bread, your toothpaste, stuff like that. Next, we have shopping goods. This is where buyers actually take the time to compare price, quality, and style across different stores. And finally, specialty goods. These have totally unique characteristics, and consumers are willing to put in a special effort just to track them down. Understanding this three-way breakdown gives marketing managers massive insights into how they should brand, price, and distribute their specific products.
Industrial goods have their own specific categories too, all depending on how they enter the production process. They range from raw materials, which can be anything from bulky minerals to perishable agricultural goods, to fabricating materials and parts, installations, accessory equipment, and operating supplies. Just to put that into perspective, an installation directly impacts the entire scale of a buyer's operation, whereas accessory equipment just kind of helps the process along.
All right, that brings us to Section 3, Product Mix and Lines.
So how in the world do massive companies organize their crazy array of offerings? Take a giant like Godrej, right? They make office furniture, typewriters, cosmetics, and refrigerators. To keep all that straight, marketers use a grid system. A product line is a group of closely related products, but the product mix, that refers to the whole shebang, all the products offered by a seller. It helps to picture this mix using physical dimensions, breadth, depth, and consistency.
The breadth, or width, is how many separate product lines the company actually has. The depth is the assortment of sizes, colors, and models offered within one specific line. And consistency? That just refers to how closely related these product lines are when it comes to their end use, production requirements, or distribution channels.
This grid system actually builds into real actionable metrics for a company. Let's do a little bit of quick math. Promise it's painless. You can calculate the average length of a product line. First, the length of the product mix is just the total number of individual product items a company sells. So, if a company like Dilly Cloth and General Mills has 15 total product items spread across 5 product lines, you just divide 15 by 5. That means their average product line length is 3. Math like this helps executives easily visualize if they're stretching themselves too thin or if they actually have room to expand.
Next up, Section 4, Product Line Strategies. Now, what's really fascinating here is how companies play with quality standards using two completely opposite strategies, trading up and trading down. Trading up is when a company that's typically known for low-priced items suddenly adds a higher-priced prestige product to their line. Think of adding a deluxe model right next to a standard Janta model to boost the brand's image and drive up overall sales. Trading down is the exact reverse. If you're a brand making high-priced prestige motorcycles, you might suddenly introduce a low-priced moped just to widen your market base and grab those cost-conscious buyers. Then we have the strategic contrast of contraction versus expansion. Look, sometimes shifting market demands mean a product just isn't profitable anymore. Thinning out the product mix by cutting an entire line or simplifying items is called contraction, and it's a great way to free up resources. On the flip side, expansion happens when a company gets aggressive and adds new lines. They could be related or totally unrelated to their current mix just to cash in on new market opportunities.
Of course, there are a few other essential tactics in the playbook. Companies are constantly making changes in model or style to keep up with shifting consumer moods. They rely heavily on product differentiation, highlighting unique designs or quality, which is a brilliant way to avoid getting dragged into brutal price wars. There's also product positioning, where they pinpoint the exact needs of a specific market segment. And, naturally, new product development. That requires some heavy investment in R&D, but it is absolutely critical for long-term survival in a world where technology and science are advancing so fast.
And finally, Section 5, Product Diversification.
Product diversification is a straightforward concept, but man, is it powerful. It literally just means adding a completely new product to the existing product line or mix, but it represents a major strategic leap. A company usually does this when they want to massively expand their footprint, stabilize their earnings, or leverage their good reputation to break into entirely new markets. You generally see this take one of two forms. Related diversification is when a company adds new products that are fairly similar to their existing ones, basically leaning on their current expertise. Unrelated diversification, though, that is a massive roll of the dice. Imagine a company that mostly deals in heavy drugs and chemicals suddenly deciding, hey, we're going to manufacture computers. It's a huge risk for sure, but it can open up entirely new, massive avenues for revenue.
Well, that brings us to the end of our masterclass, but I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative question to chew on. Look at your favorite brand today. Seriously, think about them. How are they manipulating their product mix? Are they trading up, expanding, or maybe diversifying? Next time you walk into a store, try looking at the shelves not just as a consumer, but as a marketer. Because trust me, the playbook is happening all around you. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep analyzing the world around you.